Okay, just imagine for a second that you could direct a movie. I'm talking every line of dialogue, every camera move, every single emotion. Not with a huge crew, but with just a text prompt. For years, that's been total science fiction, right? Well, today, we're going to look at the technology that just made it a reality. And trust me, it's about to change absolutely everything.
For a long time, this has been the holy grail for AI video. Not just creating those cool, silent, kind of dreamlike visuals we've all seen, but actually directing a scene. Getting characters to deliver lines with real feeling, with perfect lip sync, all from a simple prompt. It's always felt like the one piece of the puzzle that was just out of reach.
Well, guess what? It's not out of reach anymore. That massive challenge, it's just been solved. A brand new toolkit has just dropped that puts the power of a director, an editor, and even a sound designer right at your fingertips.
So, this revolution comes from a company called Kling. And get this, it's not just one model, but two that work together perfectly. Think of it like a complete filmmaking package. First, you've got your AI director to actually create the scene, and then you have your AI editor to come in and perfect it.
And here's the really cool part. It's how these two work together. Kling 2.6 is your creator, your director. You give it a prompt and it generates the entire scene, video, sound effects, and the spoken dialogue. Then, Kling 0.1 steps in for post-production, letting you tweak, change, and refine that video with just simple text commands. It's a totally seamless workflow, designed to take you from a rough idea all the way to a final cut.
All right, so let's break this down. First up, we're going to take a deep dive into the core generation model, Kling 2.6, and see what exactly makes its output so revolutionary. So Kling 2.6 basically gives you two creative paths. You can go with simple text to video, which is awesome for just brainstorming ideas and getting concepts out. But the truly professional cinematic results, those come from image to video. When you start the model with a really high-quality source image, the level of detail, the lighting, and the consistency you get back is just, wow. It's on another level.
And this, right here, is where it becomes a true game changer. Kling 2.6 doesn't just make pretty pictures that move. In a single go, it builds the entire soundscape. Dialogue with flawless lip sync, ambient background noise, and sound effects that match the action on screen perfectly. It's the whole package.
Now just listen to the nuance in this line. This was generated from a prompt for an argument scene. Pay attention to the delivery. You can actually see the subtle tension in the facial muscles, the natural way the actor blinks, even the slight tightening of the jaw. It's not just spitting out words, it's delivering a performance. That's a level of emotional realism we just haven't seen from AI before. So beyond the characters, the model also gets complex camera physics. This has been a huge problem for AI video. Usually when things move fast, objects start to warp or kind of break apart, But Kling 2.6 can handle really high-speed, complex camera moves while keeping the entire scene completely stable and coherent. Let's look at a real-world example. This scene right here was generated from a prompt describing an aggressive FPV drone shot, diving through a canyon, making these sharp turns. The final video is so realistic, you'd scroll right past it on social media and never ever guess it was AI. It just shows how incredibly well the model can translate complex instructions about motion into a photorealistic result. And it can even handle shots that you'd expect to see in a Hollywood blockbuster. For example, a vertical crane shot that also rotates and ends with a dolly zoom. That's that classic vertigo effect where the camera moves in while the lens zooms out. It's super technically demanding, but the model just pulls it off perfectly. The subject stays centered, the background moves smoothly, and there's zero distortion. It's incredible. Okay, so Kling 2.6 can generate these incredible, almost perfect shots. The lighting is spot on, the dialogue feels real. But what happens when it's only almost perfect? What if your script called for a Vespa, not a motorcycle? In the past, you'd be totally stuck. But that's where the second half of this toolkit, Kling 0.1, comes into play. You know how it used to be? You'd have to regenerate the entire scene over and over and over, just hoping you get it great. It was basically a lottery. But what if you could just fix it? What if you could do post-production editing with a simple text command? So let's take this scene as an example. It's a great shot, right? A motorcycle driving through a city, the camera work is smooth, the environment looks totally real, but let's just say our creative vision calls for something a little different. And this is the Kling 0.1 editing process. It is beautifully simple. First, you just upload your video clip. Second, you give it a reference image of what you want to add, in this case, a Vespa. And finally, you just write a plain text prompt telling the model what to do. That's it.
And boom, there you go. The motorcycle's gone, replaced by a vintage Vespa. But look closer here. It's not just some lazy copy-paste job. The lighting on the Vespa matches the scene perfectly. The reflections on its surface are totally consistent with the city environment. The model understood the context and integrated the new object seamlessly. And this control goes way beyond just swapping vehicles. You can replace characters, turning a robot into a human in the middle of a scene. You can completely change the atmosphere, transforming a calm sunset into a heavy monsoon rainstorm. This is precise, targeted control, all without having to regenerate the entire shot from scratch. So now we have the director, Kling 2.6, and we have the editor, Kling 1. Let's put them together into a simple, professional workflow that can take you all the way from a basic concept to a polished final cut.
Here it is in just 3 easy steps. First, you generate. Start with a great source image and let Kling 2.6 create your foundational video and audio. Second, you refine. Watch what you've made and use Kling 1 to make those specific targeted changes. And third, you iterate. Just like real filmmaking, you can now fine-tune your shots, try different variations, and keep editing until it perfectly matches your vision.
So, what does this all mean for the bigger picture of AI video? Well, it signals a major shift in focus from just raw, random output to something way more valuable for actual creators.
Look, this isn't about Kling being a Sora killer or anything like that. They're just different tools for different jobs. Sora is incredible at generating these spectacular results from a single text prompt. Kling's strength is different. It provides a complete toolkit designed for granular control, which makes it incredibly powerful for filmmakers who actually need to direct, edit, and refine their work. And that's really the single word that sums up this entire leap forward: control. For the very first time, creators have a meaningful level of post-generation control over AI video. It moves the whole process from being a game of chance to an actual craft.
And this all leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. We've officially moved beyond just generating random videos to being able to truly direct them. So when the tools offer this level of precision and flexibility, allowing you to bring literally any vision to life, the only real bottleneck left might just be our own imagination.